Alrighty, this is a fly tied by William B Tedrick on YouTube. It's his Froggy fly. The only thing about it is it works so good the fish tear it to pieces pretty fast. So the only slight change I've made to his fly is a little bit different construction so that it's beefier and the fish don't really rip it apart quite as fast as they would with that real thin profile. So I'll show you how to tie that. Alright, the tying of this fly is actually the exact same as the original Froggy fly. You wrap a piece of bucktail in on the back so that keeps your legs a little bit separated, and that's what'll keep that leg looking shadow when that fly goes over the water. Just any wide gap hook will work. The thin foam is on the bottom in this fly, so it won't bother the hook gap really at all. So once you get that fluffed out, you can take some green feathers or yellow feathers. Probably doesn't even matter, it just makes a shadow. And you can put them on one side. There we have that. Put two more on. Okay. You get them spread out and you can see how that's looking. It's the same exact thing as that original fly. So there's that. That's really all you need to do to tie it. If you want, you can split this bucktail in half and use your thread to keep it apart, just so the foam will go on easier later on when we put that on. I mean, you don't have to, but it makes it easier. So you have it whip finish, and the rest is all super glue. So the normal Froggy fly is tied with one single piece of foam bent at that little hinge with those two thin pieces, and that's what makes it weak. But you can take this 1/4 inch stuff, which is pretty hard to beat up, and this more fragile stuff you can use for the bottom, and you can actually make a piece out of that. And you can bend the small piece like a hinge. The thin piece bends. This doesn't really fold very well on itself. Plus it would compromise the hook gap. So you start with your piece of 1/4 inch foam, and you're going to super glue just a real thin strip on the end of that. And then you can line that up right there and let that set up, because then what you've made is one piece with two different thicknesses, and that's how you get that top to be so durable, because that's what that piece will be. So what you can do is you can bend that after the glue sets up. You can bend that and try and keep that edge as flush as possible, and you can, now you have what this would be before you trim it down to a basic frog shape. So you're gonna just lop off some pieces here. The fine tuning of it can be done once it's on the hook. That's not a big deal. Not too much of a big deal. But what they'll see, the bass will see that from the bottom when they look up. So that's about the body of a frog. We'll trim it up better once we mount that on the hook. Once you've gotten that basic shape trimmed out, you can go ahead and put that hook right on the inside of that thinnest part of the white foam, and you can slide it forward so that the green's on top, and that bucktail should already be split. And since it's split, it should just kind of flip over like that. But you can, before you even really mess with that, you can put it on the vise as long as you get that hook poked into that foam. So then what you're left with is something like that. And all you do is get that glued together and leave the legs there at the end. So just fill that full of glue and close it together. But the minute that stuff hits, it's gonna stick, so get it how you want it the first time. What you can do to prevent that hook gap from getting filled up is push up rather than down, and that'll help keep that nice and open. You won't miss fish that way. Well, that's pretty good. For the back, I like to keep that kind of at a shallower angle, and then you can just go ahead and trim it up and make sure everything looks a little bit better. Just keep that frog shape on the bottom. If you got that, then you'll catch fish. Alright, so that's shaped up nice, looks like a frog. Make sure the eye of the hook's not sandwiched shut. But now you can go ahead and put some rubber legs on it, and if you just keep the needle in the 1/4 inch foam, you can just run it right back however you like. Put it about in the middle because you want to put the eyes up front. So there you go. Those are a little bit long. Trim them up. I think that helps add stability when it's sitting there. It is kind of flat as it is, so then you can just flip it over on its belly. And I like to, frogs around here have kind of a white center and it starts getting green on their belly, so I make sort of a donut, and then I just rub it in with my finger, and that seems to get that match the hatch. Just leave that center white part open. Different color frogs in any different area can easily be matched, but that's how they are around here. So there you go, it's not perfect, but that's what they see. Color in that white edge. Alright, and then I can just put some spots on it, I don't know, maybe orange dots, whatever. Fish aren't even gonna see the top anyway, so it doesn't much matter. I guess they could if it landed hook up, but so there you have that, colored up. And the eyes on this fly, it allows you, instead of that on the top, the only way they're going to see those eyes is if it landed upside down. So instead of that, that 1/4 inch foam gives you a surface to go ahead and put those eyes on. And when you can put them up kind of toward the front, and when that fly sits in the water like that, they can see those eyes, and that's a little bit better because at least they can see them. Whether they're looking for eyes, probably not, but whatever. So there you have that, super glued on there. That's a finished, tougher Froggy fly. They both work fine, but that'll stand up to a little bit more abuse. So there you have it. Like I said before, this 90% of this fly is not my idea. It is William B Tedrick on YouTube. I just changed a few things to make it what I thought would be tougher, but tie a couple up and see how they work.